So I just got invited by my buddy Brian Burkley to go down to Central Texas in the Texas Hill Country at the Patio Ranch to go hunt. And I'm excited because, I've hunted in Texas, a lot. And I've filmed in Texas even more. But this will be the first time for me to go on a hunt like this at a place like this I've never been to a place with this much history as the Patio Ranch. I know it's the first game ranch in the state of Texas, a high fence ranch. Everything that Brian tells me is the accommodations are unbelievable. He said it makes you feel like you're, back in time in a good way.
The Patio Ranch is in Kerr County, Texas, and it is in a rocky, hilly area. Mr. Frederick bought this just before the Depression. He got the group of his employees, because there was no work in the Depression, and he brought them up there. He asked them if they wanted to, that he would give them 2 pairs of shoes a year and feed them. And they could live in a tent city here while they built this house. They stayed with him all during the Depression and then went back to work for him when the business was reopened.
He, made it more and more of a caricature of a Western ranch. From, the 30s all the way through the 50s, he would continually add a Western component to the ranch.
Mr. Frederick still has a very visible evidence, and really we've tried to build on it. So what you can see is the main lodge was constructed by him. Most of the furniture inside the main lodge is original. It's only been reupholstered.
As I recall, this ranch became an exotic game ranch in the early 30s. Dick Frederick was on the board of the San Antonio Zoo. And when a zoo had a surplus of animals that they could not sell to other zoos, Dick would purchase them and bring them up here.
There's 5 different herds that we still have here from those original seed animals that he brought in the 30s and 40s and 50s.
This is the oldest exotic game ranch under a high fence in the state of Texas. There had been exotics released on other properties prior to the Patio Ranch. Yes, it's the first one under a high fence.
There have been a number of guests at the ranch over the years. One that I wish I would have been here to see was before my time when John Wayne was out. And he would come out, I heard a number of times just to enjoy, because he had become friends or acquaintances with Mr. Frederick in San Antonio. And there are pictures of John Wayne and John Ford's son, Pat Ford, and Mrs. Frederick and himself along this bar, all raising a glass of a big mug of beer, and seemed like they're having a good time. So John Wayne spent some time here.
Dick had some health problems and went to my grandfather, Henry Stumberg, and offered to sell it to him at a very more than fair price. And my grandfather purchased it in 1959.
Grandfather and my dad and my uncle Eddard started Patio Foods, Patio Mexican, which is frozen Mexican foods. It started in about 1946, and it was a pioneer in frozen Mexican dinners, and by the time they sold it to R.J. Reynolds in 1966, it was ubiquitous across the United States and the largest company of its type. The front gate, when you drive in, has Patio Ranch on it. The shop employees at Patio Foods built that gate for my grandfather.
Mr. Stumberg was interested in the exotic game from a conservation and a preservation standpoint. Some of these species that are here, not that he put them here originally, there was more animals in the state of Texas when he purchased this ranch, like black buck antelope, than there were in their native countries.
The main type of breeding programs we have here would be intensive breeding, which is where we will pick a specific bull or sire to actually breed all of the female herd. And the rest are all free range, and they breed on their own.
The propagation of these species and preserving these species is one of the reasons that a lot of these exotic places got started in Texas. It wasn't from a hunting standpoint, it was just the idea of having a place where these animals could propagate. For instance, on this place, Barasingha deer. The Barasingha deer has been on the rare and endangered species list for a number of years. When I started here, there was 14 Barasingha in the kudu pasture in 1974. When I left in 1979, there was 81. And well, we couldn't hunt them at that time. We could sell them, but we couldn't hunt them at that time.
So the Endangered Species Act of 1973 is a simple worldwide recognition about certain species in the world that were not going to survive unless drastic measures were taken. One of the implications of it was because we had a species here, a Barasingha herd, that was endangered, is that you could not hunt them.
If anybody raises, say, cattle, you know that you can't keep a cattle herd just by raising them and raising them and raising them, not being able to sell them. You got to have some return to help pay for the rest of them. There was no motivation other than Mr. Stumberg's love of the animals. There was no monetary motivation for them to keep the animals. And so Mr. Stumberg decided that he wanted to talk with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. He was just reasoning with them. He says, I've got all these animals. You want to allow me to sell them? I can't make money on them. All I can do is feed them and throw money into them. And it's getting to the point where it's hard to keep up now. He says, you can give me a permit to hunt the surplus males, keep a breeding herd for me to sell surplus animals to other people to start other herds, and I can sell hunts to help pay for things. He says, and I'll even give 10% of all my income to the native habitat for managing the animals in their native habitat to help protect them. I think they saw the value in protecting these animals in the right way, and within a short period of time he had his permits. And that, to that day, his plan for that endangered species permit is the basis for all the endangered species permits that are now issued.
Right. Where are we?
Patio Ranch.
The Patio Ranch, indeed. Let's go.
Favorite place.
We just rolled in like an hour and a half ago, already in full hunting garb.
Shot your bow. We're unpacked.
Yep.
Ready to get it done.
I feel good about it. I'm going to be after aoudad, and you're going to go after whatever walks out. Axis deer. That's the main
Hopefully
focus.
Axis.
Yeah, Axis is the main focus.
Then Stumberg.
Well, just getting settled in this amazing ground blind. This is a really cool blind. You guys did it up. Sitting over a feeder. The feeder is probably about 35 yards. 35.1 yards. We got some hay on the ground. Big front coming in tonight, so they like to put hay down ahead of that for the animals out of here. We got a Jacob's sheep. That's what it's called, right? I'm learning all kinds of stuff. What is it? Four-horn, yeah. Looking for aoudad. A lot of aoudad out of here. We got a little bit of a crosswind, so we're hoping they come from the direction the wind's coming from. I'm not going to be picky. I'm just going to shoot what he tells me I'm allowed to shoot. I'm super grateful down here at the Patio Ranch here in the Texas Hill Country. Down there with my buddy Brian Burkley. Him and I have shared a lot of camps together over the years. And we always have a good time, so this is my first time doing a hunt like this, and looking forward to experiencing it. So, one up front. Quartering hard away to the right of the feeder. That's him right there. Goes broadside. I'm not gonna shoot over his horn. Alright, you ready? Yeah. Right there. Hit on the left side of it. Mid-body sticking out this far in front of his back flank, quartering to a bump. It went back. I don't know why it shot to the right. I mean, I felt good. I mean, just give him some. Give him plenty of time. Oh yeah. Just got out of the blind. The blind's right there behind me. As you can see, it is a dark hole thanks to one Kyle and Mr. Daniel. And now we're gonna watch it. The shot was a little bit further back than ideal. He was quartering two, and instead of really getting through that shoulder, I put it behind the shoulder. I wish it was about 3 inches more forward, but I don't think it's gonna be. I think we're gonna find him. So let's go. There's blood right here. Man, it's not, I hate it, but yeah, he's dead. He's down. Mr. Daniel, I appreciate it, sir. So we got into camp. My buddy Brian Burkley, who is a regular at the Patio Ranch, called me last week and said that he was coming down here for like the 10th time, and asked if I wanted to tag along. And this was the first afternoon, and like you said, they're tough. Unfortunately, you know, a lot of these African animals, their vitals are a little bit further forward. And I made a poor decision and a poor shot, and then went a little bit back, and it took us a little bit to catch up to it. But we did catch up to it. And is this a good representation of the patio for an aoudad?
Good representation.
About how big do you think he might be?
33 inches.
That's definitely bigger than my biggest one. This is only my second aoudad ever, and my first with a bow. So I am tickle pink down here in the Texas Hill Country. Patio Ranch, your facilities are just top notch. You guys got all kinds of wildlife running around. It's super cool to drive the roads, and you know, you see a plethora of animals. Well, I'm definitely grateful to be sitting behind such a great animal. It was a great experience. I mean, it was an awesome experience, and being in camp is half the fun, and then getting an opportunity at, you know, a target-rich environment is super awesome. So, but I appreciate it, sir. Yes, I really do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
My name is Daniel Gray. I'm the ranch manager here at the Patio Ranch. Been employed since 2014. The ranch is right under 2,000 acres. High fence, exotic game ranch. Coming in from the front gate to where our main compound is a good 2 miles off the highway. You're far away from town. You're way out in the country. There's lots of nice scenery, hills. You know, see wildlife along the way. Drive in, you see this big 2-story castle-looking building, which is our main lodge that everybody stays at. Whenever you come inside, it's like taking a step in the past. You know, with the construction of this thing in the early 30s, a lot of the furniture in here is original from back in that time period. The lodge has been well maintained and updated, but there's still a lot of really old original pieces in here. Although Patio Ranch offers 15 different species, a lot of the common ones that you see in other game ranches in Texas, common stuff like black buck, axis fallow, But our specialties here, things that we're really proud of, are Nubian ibex, markhor, our Stumberg sheep, which is a Argali European mouflon hybrid, Barasingha deer, and Manchurian Sika. And kind of new and exciting to us, we just reintroduced sandbar deer, which historically was one of the first species that was here on the ranch back, possibly in the early 30s. This is something that we really take pride in, is most everything that is harvested here was born and raised from the ranch. The ranch is split up into like 5 different pastures, so we can kind of separate those that can cross for the purity of the species. Our specialty species that we have, markhor, Nubian ibex, Barasingha, Manchurian Sika, and the Stumberg sheep, we have a selective breeding program. From that, we're taking the best looking animals, the traits that we really like, and we put them in there. And it's fun being a part of growing really big animals. Well, like some of the exotic species that we have here on the ranch are endangered in their native homeland. The benefit of having them here in Texas, they're doing great here, even though the animal is hunted. But the income that comes from that hunt pays for the rest of them.
Hey, Brian, what are we after?
The elusive aoudad.
It is elusive.
It is.
For us.
Especially for me. We got a Stumberg today, and we also got a huge axis. And figured we got another day left, so we give an aoudad whirl. Brandon claims there's a bigger aoudad than the one that I killed earlier this year. So we're going to at least see if we can see him. What do you think, Daniel?
I think we're going to do it. I feel really good about it.
You smoked him the whole time.
Love him. Why do these things get to me so much?
And I looked out at one point and I saw him rear up and I heard that whop.
Oh,
That wop was it was loud. Hey, buddy. Thank you. Good spot. BA. Could it have happened any faster? You were like, can you shoot out that window? And I was like, I'm gonna find a way. I'm gonna find a way. I think he likes me shooting all day. He's like, I'm just gonna let Brian be exclusive aoudad hunter out here.
Let me tell him, we gotta keep the aoudad in there. I got a guy.
Yeah, he keeps talking about they need to get rid of some of the aoudad, and I was like, no. Yeah, keep those. Get rid of something else, like the black buck.
brought you. It's so big. Stop. How about 36?
36?
36. 23 and a eighth. 23 and 2.
Yeah.
Mr. Stumberg was a gentleman in all respects to everybody who showed up here. I mean, he was a man that I didn't see any way anybody couldn't respect him.
My father was a driven person and worked a lot. He felt the need to make the world better.
It taught me that everybody has this dignity and is deserving of respect. And so that was something that we watched and something that hopefully emulated.
He just loved to drive around the pasture and look at animals. We would just sit up on that, the high point up there where you could look out over the big openings.
The high ground was my husband's favorite place of contemplation. He always went there every time we came up here.
Dad was visiting with Tom Jaco and said, "Tom, do you know what the high ground is?" And Tom Jaco was a 3-star general from Vietnam era. It was an infantry general. And he said, "Louis, of course I know what the high ground is. That is where you go, when you're an army, because you can command huge amounts of country from a very small location. You can protect a large area from a very small part. That's what the high ground is." And my father says, "Tom, no, it's not. The high ground is what you take in your personal behavior. It is where you help others. You are not a hypocrite. You don't speak differently than you behave. And you work to make the world better for you having been there." And it was interesting that when Dad died, we were all together with him, and each of us said our little farewells. And Tom went up and picked up my father's head and cradled and said, "I'll see you on the high ground. I love you, Louis." And those were the last words that Tom ever said to my father. And the impact of it, I didn't understand, and Eric didn't understand, but Dad had chosen Tom to give the eulogy. And he told the story in a way that was easily understood about what defined my dad. And that's the high ground. And there, on that spot now, is a pile of rocks known as an Ebenezer pile, to where when you go, you put a rock in honor of my father. There's also there a bottle of Jordan, empty bottle of Jordan, certainly from my brother and I, there at the bottom, because that was what my father shared with his closest friends. And that's the high ground.
I've been blessed far beyond my fondest objectives. And you really don't know joy unless you've had sorrows. There ain't no hills to go over. There ain't a valley between them. I've found a lot of joy. Well, I fish, I hunt, Mary Pat and I go up to the river ranch. It's the only place I can really sit, do nothing. It's been one of the great things that I've always enjoyed. It is the one place that I work on such an intense basis. It's the one place where I'm focused just there.